Okay. I have a confession to make. This is my story in one photo. You might be curious about this photo. Well, it's about a backgrounder. This was taken back in South Korea when I had the opportunity to attend a conference there. But I'd like to highlight two things about this photo, which might be obvious about. First is travel. Of course, we all love to travel. As a matter of fact, we have plans already. But I'd also love to highlight one thing about this photo, which complements travel: the food. We all love to eat, right? Who doesn't love to eat? We all love to eat. And trying to roam around, we would be able to as well immerse ourselves into different kinds of cultures. And these cultures are actually within our veins. It's all inculcated within our veins. And we can all sum up this into three words: culture, identity, and pride. These are all important to us, right? Right. But the question is, it's not moving. Question is, are you ready?
Yes.
To bury your culture, pride, and identity?
No.
That's a sad story and direction for us in Zamboanga City. I am from Zamboanga City. I know for one. But where is Zamboanga City exactly? This is the Philippines, and the Philippines is actually divided into three major islands. You have the Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. And Zamboanga City is in the southernmost part of the Philippines, with roughly almost 1 million inhabitants, dominating within the 1,414.70 square meter. The location of Zamboanga City is pretty strategic. This is adjacent to the neighboring provinces in the entire region of Zamboanga Peninsula. It also has an international airport, the only international airport in the region. But apart from that, you will also see in that photo that it's also adjacent to the neighboring provinces of another region, the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, which makes Zamboanga City as the haven and gateway of economic activities in the entire area of Western Mindanao. In terms of the economic profile, the economy of Zamboanga City is pretty strong. The total GDP share of Zamboanga City for 2018 was the highest in the entire region, roughly 32.60% of the overall total GDP share of the entire region, which accounts for about 427.78 billion pesos. As a matter of fact, in the economic growth rate for 2021 to 2022, Zamboanga City was high on its average 8.10%, even higher than the regional average of 7.50 and the national average of 7.60. Zamboanga City is also home to different cultures inhabiting the entire region, the entire city. You have different ethnic groups such as the Tausug, which I came from. You also have the ethnic groups of Biakan, Subanen, and Chabacano. This actually leads to different kinds of culinary tapestry in the region, with influences from Muslim cuisines, from Indian cuisines, from Malaysian cuisines, and of course from the Spanish cuisines. As we all know, we were colonized by the Spaniards for 333 years. And Zamboanga City is one of the major occupations occupied by the Spaniards during that time, which makes Zamboanga City known until this day as the only Asia's Latin city. But going back to the question, are we ready to bury our culture, pride, and identity in Zamboanga City? Definitely not. No. But the question is, how can we do that? Remember this photo? This is the answer. The divergence of travel and food is the solution, which makes culinary tourism as a municipal product for Zamboanga City. This will be called the Taste of Zamboanga, Zamboanga Culinary Expo 2024. But why? Is it sustainable? Definitely it is sustainable, because we would be able to celebrate nurture and empower the culinary culture and culinary cuisine of Zamboanga City. These are the target groups. Of course, we'll be targeting the locals in terms of their needs on the economic opportunities. They also need mentorship and entrepreneurship literacy support. We will also be targeting the tourists, of course, obviously. In terms of their need for cultural and food experience, we will also be delving into the memorable souvenirs that they want. Culinary enthusiasts will also be targeted in terms of their educational experience need and networking, and definitely to target the potential investors in terms of their need for market exposure and networking collaboration. This is a reference from abroad. There are a lot of food festivals in different countries, in different cities, but this one is kind of similar, the Qatar International Food Festival, where they will be there will be some chef shows. They will also be installing some food stalls and of course live events. And while reading about this Qatar International Food Festival, they are also trying to incorporate the Qatar culture into this festival. Hence, this is the Taste of Zamboanga Culinary Expo 2024 once again. Short-term objectives, of course, for the entire event, we are expecting to collaborate with at least 3 celebrity chefs from the Philippines, national in scope, and of course 10 local chefs from Zamboanga City. We're also targeting to gather at least 30 restaurants and enterprise and other culinary artisans to participate in the food stalls. And we're also expecting, hopefully, to garner at least 2 million pesos of the overall revenue of the exhibitors. And we're expecting at least a minimum of 10,000 locals and tourists participating and trying to go to Zamboanga City to participate in the activities, trying to roam around. And we, of course, to realize this event, we're expecting to get funds from our partners and the Philippine Tourism Department, as there are programs with the Tourism Department where you can access at least minimum amount of funds to support the event. The long-term objectives will, of course, make the Zamboanga Culinary Expo as an annual cultural landmark with at least expectation of 10% growth rate every year, with at least 2 spin-off events in a year. Of course, we're also expecting that hopefully in the near future we'll be able to have an international recognition, and we'll be able to invite at least 5 international chefs from 5 different countries. We're also expecting to produce the 50 traditional recipes, trying to preserve those recipes in a book and publish it. And of course, for the event, we're also expecting to, conduct sustainable practices such as trying to reduce event-related environmental impact. We are also targeting specific economic objectives such as 20% increase in annual revenue for those particular participating local enterprises such as the restaurants. We're also expecting at least 50 individuals annually employed in the culinary industry, trying to have at least sustainable employment opportunities for them. And to establish a culinary entrepreneurship fund to provide financial support to at least 3 culinary startups annually. This will be hopefully be part of the local budget and the city budget, and we'll also be trying to lobby this into the national budget. And of course, targeting at least 10% increase in the export of Zamboanga culinary products, trying to export them into international markets. This is the organizational chart. Of course, the overall chair will be the city mayor. The co-chair will be the city administrator, because most of the time city mayors are kind of busy. And we're also trying to come up with 8 different committees. You have the Planning and Coordination Committee, Program and Entertainment Committee, Marketing and Promotion Committee, Sponsorship and Fundraising Committee, Logistics and Operations Committee, Safety and Security Committee, Volunteer Coordination Committee, Sustainability and Green Initiatives. And all of these committees will be headed by the different directors of the different offices in the city. Of course, they will also be having at least 5 staffs along with other volunteers depending on the number of the needs to try to secure. You'll be able to see, like for example, in the station security committee, they have at least 100 volunteers because we will be having a parade. Hence, we need to have a huge number of people to try to help in the security as well. And since there will be competitions, we also be inviting some judges, at least 12 judges, the 3 celebrity chefs and mentors, and possible investors. This is the project timeline, which basically from the start until the end, this will run at least in 6 or at least a little over 6 months, almost 7 months of activity from the preparation until the evaluation and the submission of the report. For the budgetary requirement, these are the specific budget that will be needed. Of course, we are expecting to at least gather at almost 2.2 million pesos or roughly 36,000 euros. But this will be coming from different funds, as you can see in that diagram, in that chart. 70% will come from the Philippine Tourism Department since they have a program where we can access to have that fund. We are also shouldering, the city will also be shouldering 20% of the total fund needed, and the 10% we're expecting to collect it from our partners and sponsors. These are the monitoring and evaluation indicators. Of course, we'll be looking at the attendance numbers, vendor performance, trying to look at their sales and revenues, the participant engagement, trying to look at the level of their engagement that they have, and the time that they will, participate in the workshop and demonstrations. Of course, we'll also be looking into the financial performance, particularly in the overall activity, and also for the vendors that will participate in the stalls. And media coverage and publicity and stakeholder feedbacks are also important in trying to monitor and evaluate the entire activity. This is the design of the schedule of activities. This will be a 5-day event, and these are the venues. You have the City Hall grounds, Paseo del Mar, this is the entire park, and also the Centro Latino Hall. This is the poster for the entire program, for the entire event, and those also are the poster for the call for applications for the different competitions. I will be explaining about that later on, but if you have internet connection, you can also try to scan this to check into the website of this Taste of Zamboanga Culinary Tapestry. But I will also be showing that to you here. Okay, my internet works. So this is the website. Well, I'm not a computer science expert. I'll just try to, navigate things, how to make this work, because Christine tried to make a good impression. And, it's hard to follow what Christine did, but at least we have something here. So this is the homepage. If you try to click on the events, it will give you the different events and competitions. You have the Parade of Taste, culinary product pitching, farm to table cook-off, and the Food Truck Expo concert nights. Now, for example, if you want to know more about the Parade of Taste, you can just simply click on the photo, and it will give you the page for the Parade of Taste. This is a brief description of it. You also have the cash prizes, and also if you want to try to check out others, you can just click on some of the photos here. It will redirect you to the page. The culinary product pitching also here, and of course the last one would be this one. You can also see in here that there are links for registration and for course registration and download guidelines. So for example, if you're interested about food truck, you can just simply click on the download guidelines. It works perfect. So here is the guidelines. You can just try to scroll it down, and of course, if you see that you're perfectly fit and you're interested to register, you can just click on the register and it will redirect you to the registration link online. You can just simply fill this out, and of course we will be able to document and register you for the activity. For the schedule, you could also check in here. You can just try to scroll down. You can see that there are different types of events that will be happening, but I'd like to highlight that we'll be also, apart from the competitions, we will also be conducting a celebrity chef's pep talk in the afternoon of the third day, and of course that will also be the awarding ceremony, followed by the fireworks display. You know, I'd love to always see fireworks display in closing programs, as this would be a major highlight. One of the fireworks display that really captivates my attention was when I had the opportunity to participate and study in the United States and try to, you know, we were able to celebrate the 4th of July. So we were in Vermont, and that was just amazing. So I'd like to copy that as well, and you know, put it into the celebrations that we had. And just to try to click on the contacts, that's it. And going back, almost end of my presentation, is I just did it last night. The TikTok video or Reels. So that concludes my presentation. Thank you so much for your attention, and love to hear your thoughts. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, do you guys have any questions? What's nice? No, it just kind of, it's like an impressive. I don't know.
Thank you.
Yes, it's very impressive. I like it.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
Amazing work. I like the TikTok video. Nice touch.
You know me.
Yeah, too bad you cannot put it in your paper.
That's right.
Any questions? Okay, I have a question. How do you, first of all, really nice work. I
Thank you.
appreciate how much effort you put into it. It's obvious that you work really hard, and it's a really, I have to compliment you on your presentation skills as well.
Thank you.
Obviously not your first presentation you're giving. Regarding the content, I will go through the whole paper and write if I have some comments. Sometimes it's better if you send me the Word version, because to PDF I can only do it through the comments, which is a bit difficult, but doesn't matter. Here, first of all, quite ambitious goals. 10% raise in the export. Really, with one event, do you really think you can do it?
But that would be in the long-term goal.
Okay.
It doesn't mean like within a year or so. Yeah.
But well, okay, revenues. How are you getting the revenues? By the fee for participation? Are you collecting any entrance fee, or this was not clear from the presentation?
Yeah, for the participation fee along with other competitions, it's totally free. But for the food stalls, since they will be also doing some economic activities there, so we're trying to get at least of 1,000 pesos or roughly 17 euros as a participation cost for that. So that's one, but it will be used mainly for the maintenance and operational cost of the entire activity for the expo nights. But in terms of the revenue that will be collected from the data based on the participating stalls, how much they earn every night, how much they earn, you know, how the event would actually help them in trying to get revenues from it.
Okay, and how about the entrance fee? There is none?
There's
Oh,
none. There's
okay.
none.
So that's all I could grasp from the content of the presentation.